Hey guys, welcome to the lecture series on ethical hacking. In this lecture video, we'll be mainly talking about the covert operations. So you may be listening to regularly about the covert. Okay, the police, they will be inducing their own persons as a covert into the terrorist groups or else any sort of Naxal groups. And even we can see in different type of movies like Durandar or also Durandar 2 and all these things. Okay, Indian spy agents will be acting as a covert in the Pakistan army or else in the Pakistan. Okay, so these are the different type of covert operations that we'll be seeing in our day-to-day life. So similar to that thing. Okay, here as an ethical hacker. Okay, what we'll be doing? We'll be using different type of covert communications and moreover tools. Normally, in connection to the last lecture, what we are discussing regarding the Trojans, okay, the Trojans, what they will be doing, they will be inducing some sort of malware into the system applications, okay, and they will be behaving as if they are of genuine, and they will be compromising the system using different type of covert communications. The attacker will be behaving as if they are of legitimate, and they will be gaining the attention and control of a normal legitimate user, a normal regular user, and thereby he get the total information. So let me go in detail about the covert communication, more about the tools. So as a covert implies, it's a basic hidden mechanism, okay, or else a methodology that will be used with attackers. Okay, for a normal layman, it will not be seen directly. It will not be known also. So what the attacker will be doing, they will be implementing different type of applications or also software, also malicious codes that will be secretly transferred to into our system. Okay, thereby it will be getting the control over the entire system resources, and it will be doing its own operations. Let me go basically why it has been going to implement. What is the purpose? The first of all, what it will be doing is nothing but it's a practice, it's a simple methodology that will be simply followed to concealing the total data transmission within the legitimate network traffic, and moreover it will be avoiding the detection by different type of antivirus softwares what we are using. That implies these applications which has been used with the attackers cannot be identified by the antivirus softwares what we are using. For the antivirus software will be thinking that the data is very much of genuine, the application is very much of genuine, but it is of not. They will be using different type of covert channels to hide the required data for the normal protocol data flow. Instead of going with the HTTPS, they will be using the HTTP. Okay, they will be going to use this particular DNS queries also, DNS tunneling. DNS is nothing but domain name servers. They may be using their different type of ICMP packets also, like ICMP stands for Internet Control Message Protocol. If any uneven situation has been arise into our network, automatically ICMP will be simply triggering some sort of alert messages. Suppose if any congestion has been occurred in my network, in order to control the flow, data flow, what these ICMP will be doing in the reverse direction, it will be simply passing a choke packet. Automatically, once a choke packet has been received to the receiver at the sender side, okay, the sender will not be transferring any sort of data until the congestion has been cleared. Sometimes we'll be having some sort of echo request, echo reply. Okay, in order to calculate the maximum transmission delay between the source and moreover the receiver. Okay, so if these particular controlled messages, which will be regularly used by the ICMP, are compromised, for example. Let me go with a small example. Okay, once a congestion has been occurred, but genuinely it is not the congestion, the attacker, what it will be doing in order to stop the required communication from the legitimate sender, for example. Okay, it will be simply inducing some sort of chalk packet into the reverse direction to the sender. Upon receiving to the chalk packet, the sender will be abruptly stopping the things or also passing the required data transmission, not to have more amount of damage because of the congestion. Once the congestion has been occurred, the data will be lost definitely. But here there is no scope of the congestion. But the attacker has implemented or simulated this particular situation. And the attacker, what it will be doing, he will be now behaving or pretending as if he is a genuine sender and sends his own information to the receiver. Receiver will be thinking that the data is coming from the genuine sender itself, but it is of not. So they may compromise the ICMP packets also. And the case of P2P networks also. One-to-one communication will be done in the case of P2P networks. So abruptly, they may compromise the data communication. Here, in some sort of malware applications or else malware softwares, and especially in the case of ransomware, they will be encrypting the entire data. The attacker, once it is attacking the entire database, and they will be simply encrypting the data by his own case. Until we get the case from the attacker, and the data cannot be revealed for the normal regular legitimate clients. Let me go with the small applications. One of the situation I had seen how this particular, I will be saying about the behavior of the attacker also. I had seen in one particular blogs how these hackers are going to behave. Let me go with the, I will take 2 minutes of time for you with some sort of example. There is one particular case where the data has been hacked by the attacker. It's a ransomware attack. The data has been totally encrypted. Now, generally, these particular attackers, they will be attacking especially on the weekends, especially on the Friday evenings and on these particular days. On the Friday evening, before the closing time, the manager has got some sort of mail saying that your data has been compromised. I had logged the entire data. First of all, he haven't trusted that thing. The manager also higher authority person. Next, he has gone to the total precautionary measures. Is the mail is of genuine or not anything. Somehow you got the information that the mail is of genuine and the data has been entirely logged. I am not in a position to access the required data. So the attacker, he has sent some sort of mail saying that, okay, please transfer this particular amount as a bitcoins, not the genuine information. Why? Because the cryptocurrency or else a bitcoins is purely anonymity will be maintained. User identification is highly impossible. That's why the attacker has used these cryptocurrency methodology to make the required data for the financial transactions. So by Monday, once again, we have to start our day-to-day work and we have to provide the required information for all the clients. So the company is not in a position to make the required decision. Somehow they have the huge meetings has been held and they had got compromised. They had involved all their own tech team to decrypt the data. They had struggled a lot. They haven't got the data. And finally, they are okay applying with the things what it has been requested by sent by the attacker. They are ready to pay the amount for them. Somehow by Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, they had paid the total amount. And they're expecting the keys. They are after making the payment as a cryptocurrency for so-and-so attacker's ID, they are sending them mails. So please provide the keys, please provide the keys, please provide the keys. Continuously, the total Sunday has been pumping the mails only to provide the required keys. Please send the keys, please send the keys. As per the word that has been given by the attacker, and Monday morning, he had given the total keys. Is of genuine attacker, but is of genuine attacker. Okay, by using that particular keys, they had access the entire database, and the clients doesn't have any sort of loss of data, or else compromising of the data, or else stealing of, or else any sort of message of your data. But the attacker, I can say what he will be doing. Okay, he had sent a small mail. As it is a weekend, you can observe. As it is a weekend, and weekends I cannot, I don't work. So that's why only I haven't responded for your mails. Okay, but as per my own word, I had provided the total keys for you on Monday morning. So you can observe the genuinity or also the behavior of the attacker also. Generally, these type of behaviors will be seen especially by the European hackers. But mainly our Indian subcontinent or also Asian database were mainly hacked by the East Asian countries, attackers that has been there from the East Asian countries like Cambodia, Philippines, Malaysia, Okay, these attackers, they will be mainly compromising the Indian database. So, but these attackers will not be having any sort of ethics. Okay, so the attackers also will behave in this particular pattern. So, how the required covert communication will be implemented. So, you can see here the steganography. Stegano is a study. Graphy is a study. Okay, stegano is nothing but hiding the information. We are very much familiar about this steganography. Steganography will be implemented in multiple ways. And network security cryptography also we had gone through about the steganography. Okay, in a stegno means hiding the message. The message can be hidden within the message, within an image, within an audio, within an video also. We may see some sort of watermarking on the videos, especially what we are seeing in the social media, or else in the case of TVs and all these things. They will be having some sort of watermark. The watermark will be providing the authorization. Okay, do have the copyrights. They are the only solo persons who access to maintain or else to do any sort of operations on those particular videos or else audios. So to maintain, to securely communicate the required information from one person to other person, okay, people are using this steganography. Steganography is not a new technique. From the Greeks itself, the people are using this steganography. In the childhood times also, we had done some sort of things like if I am writing any sort of letters or else any sort of thing on the white paper using the onion water or else lemon water, that particular data after drying cannot be seen. Once it is kept under the fire, it can be accessed. It is one of the hiding the required text itself. Is a steganography. Okay, we have to go for the transferring the required data to make it unreadable by using different type of encryption mechanisms. We can go with that thing also. We have to regularly monitor about these protocol tunneling also. Whenever we are transferring the required data between two different type of protocols, there comes to the tunneling. So these in the case of firewalls, we do have the packet filtering routers, but in the case of tunneling, we do have the special routers called as the multi-protocol routers. Their operation is to convert one form of data into the other form, one format of data into the other format of data, so that even though we are communication between two networks which are using two protocols, they can have a proper communication. So we have to properly escalate the proper protocol tunneling mechanisms. We have to always make the required data transmission only through the encrypted channels. And we have to always check about the anonymity of the networks. Dark web will not be maintaining any sort of anonymity. User identification is strictly maintained. Even you can see in Google Chrome and other web browsers also, we do have the incognito window where the user identification will not be known. Anonymity will be strictly maintained. That implies the credentials will not be temporarily stored in the cookies, and more log information will not be maintained. These are the different type of advantages why we are going with the different type of hidden softwares or applications. What about the port redirection? So it's a small technique. It's a simple technique also. Okay, what they will be doing, it will be used to forward the network traffic from one port to the other ports, as we do have multiple ports on the same system. And so up to now, we have got the required information from via this particular ports. In the next instant after, we will be getting the required data from the other ports. Once the data has been coming from one port has been compromised, automatically we will be redirecting to from the other ports to the another systems. It will be generally used by the attackers to hide the malicious softwares. Okay, they will be simply making these particular mechanisms to avoid the required firewalls. Especially the firewall will be compromising, will be triggering some sort of alert saying that these particular ports are not genuine and stop the required communication. But the port redirection will be implemented here. So it will be involving the forwarding or also mapping the network traffic from one port to the other ports. Suppose if I want to transfer the required data within the network, for example, okay, I may not rely on the IP address. I may rely on the MAC address itself to make the required data communication. So if the routing tables has been compromised, it has been modified. If the data is coming, is being sent instead of sending to the genuine user, if there is a chance, as per the modified routing table, the data may be gone to the unwanted users or also to the attacker system also. There is a chance. So how these particular attackers, what the techniques that will be used is nothing but first of all they will be getting the internal services. They will be accessing the total internal services from outside the network. Okay. Next, they will be simply bypassing the firewalls. That implies by using different type of genuine ports, they will be entering into the network. Firewall will be thinking that the data is coming from the genuine network itself. Okay, and moreover, they will be hide not only these things, they will be hiding the malicious communication also. So these are the different type of mechanisms that will be simply implemented for the port redirection. So one thing is nothing but we have to strictly implement the required firewalls, rules, and moreover the access controls to avoid the port redirection. We have to regularly monitor the traffic analysis. We have to maintain the intrusion directory, okay, and we have to properly implement the intrusion detection, moreover prevention mechanisms, intrusion detection system and intrusion prevention systems. And we have to deploy the network segmentation, at least privileging the required access. That implies which particular user is having what type of access, which user having what type of access in accessing the data, in accessing the system resources, any sort of thing. Always we have to allow the required communication only from the allowed ports. Whenever other ports are not in use, make it disable, so that the attacker will not be using those ports to enter into the network. A simple thing. Once we are not using any sort of ports, immediately make it as a disable. Next, going with the other redirection or covert tools that will be simply implemented, that will be simply used also. The first of all, going with the SOCs. Regularly, people will be using this particular SOCs. It will be providing the encapsulation, especially in the case of protocols like tunneling. So in the tunneling, as I said, it will be using multi-protocol router. Once we want to make the required communication from one protocol to one network to other network, which is using different protocols, there in order to bypass the firewalls, in order to bypass the system security antivirus applications what we are using, the SOCs tunneling tool will be used. And we do have the proxy based redirection. The attacker may modify the routing tables and they will be route the required traffic through proxy servers. Next one is SSH, secure socket layer. So what they will be doing is nothing but they will be making the port forwarding. The secure socket shell, it will be simply used in order to securely redirect the required traffic from one particular path to the other paths. While the legitimate administrators will be thinking the data has been coming from these particular paths, but it has been misused. Next, going with the VPN. What about this VPN based redirections? So these particular VPNs will be encrypting and redirecting the traffic through external servers. These attackers are also malicious actors. They will be using the VPNs to control the total traffic communication. That implies what the communication that has been done by the source and moreover destination will be compromised, will be encrypted by the attacker. So we have to check about the DNS and moreover ICMP also. Domain name servers and moreover the internet control message protocols. So the attacker, what it will be doing, it will be hiding the data inside the DNS queries, or even in the case of ICMP packets also. As an ICMP, what it will be doing, whenever an event situation has been occurred, it will be simply pumping some sort of alert messages like choke packets, echo request, echo reply, time of flight, different type of packets. These particular packets will be compromised. Or else they will be using the covert channels or else steganography tools. Even though communication has been done, even though malicious software has been induced into the genuine application, but it has been hidden. So the steganography will be implemented in multiple ways. As I said, hiding the text, hiding in the text, hiding in the image, hiding in the audio, even in the case of videos also. During the World Trade Center attack, even these Taliban people like Osama bin Laden and these things, they had used the steganography technique to send the information from one place to the other place in order to communicate with the clients. Okay, they has used this particular steganography technique. So you can see a small application. I mean, in the social media, or else in some sort of things, we can see whenever I am enlarging the, suppose the image, the portrait is concerned to a dog. Portrait is concerned to a dog. Dog image has been there. If I am zooming in the dog's eye, in that particular eye, we can see a hidden image. A small image may be there. Once it has been zoomed out, we'll be thinking that it is a normal a dog image itself, a puppy image itself. But in the eye of that particular puppy, they have hidden some sort of other image. So this is how this steganography will be implemented. This is how the covert operation will be simply implemented by the attackers. So in this lecture, we are mainly talking about the covert operations, how these particular attackers will be using different type of covert applications or also covert tools to behave as if they are of very much genuine. Thank you.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe VNR Digital Learning Resource YouTube channel.